Chiropractic, and of course, we're in the midst of a special, program. 9 weeks, 9 hidden secrets why you can't lose weight. Isn't that right, Dr. Bob?
That is correct.
And how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
All right, I'm fine. I'm interested in your topic today. Every topic's a little different. And actually, Bob was asking me earlier about what I learned when you come out. I always learn something with Dr. Bob.
That's very nice. Today we're talking about actually a pretty tough subject to talk about on the radio. It's called the immune system and fat loss connection.
Okay.
So we try to tie in all these different areas to weight loss. And the first week we talked about insulin levels and blood sugar levels. We've talked about cortisol levels. We've talked about hormones and how they affect it, toxins within the body, thyroid symptoms. So this week we're going to be talking about the immune system. And it's difficult to talk about the immune system primarily because of the fact that, when we talk about other systems like the nervous system, you can actually kind of like dissect out the nervous system, the brain, the spinal cord, the nerves. Cardiovascular system, you have the heart and the blood vessels. Musculoskeletal system, you know that there's muscles and bones involved. But when you talk about the immune system, there's really just not a pure immune system. And so it's because it's in every single cell of the body, or it's every single part of the body. And so it's actually cells themselves that are being secreted in response to certain things that are happening within the body. It's everywhere. And you'll think, if you have a heart problem, you usually go to a heart doctor, or a GI problem, you go to a gastroenterologist. But, with the immune system, even though there are immunologists and infectious disease guys, it's just not usually, you don't usually see them unless there's actually a major problem going on.
Mm-hmm.
And, the immune system is fascinating right now. It's where most of the scientific study is going. And the problem is we probably know less about the immune system than we do know about it. And there's always new discoveries, and most of the times that's what drug companies are really focusing on. That's what functional medicine doctors are always looking at. So we're going to try to break it down into something that's easy, because it's very complex. It's like multiple steps in reaction to something else. So I'm just going to try to keep it kind of simple.
I guess I just think of it as, if there's something foreign, a foreign substance or a body that enters into your system, the immune system attacks it and tries to get rid of it.
And that's basically what it does. That's what it does. But the problems are our immune systems are overworking nowadays because of the fact of all the things we've talked about in the past, with being exposed to so many different toxins and just the chemicals that we use every single day, from shampoos to toothpaste to the foods that we ingest, which are genetically modified, where we talked about last week, right. Monsanto being sued because of their
Roundup.
The Roundup, some of the stuff that's actually causing toxins in our body, and it's in every single, well, not every single, but a lot of the foods that we ingest on a daily basis, is kind of poisonous. So our immune system's working all the time, and that's a problem for us, because it's not really designed to do that. It's designed to turn on and turn off. And so I'm going to try to break down in some really, really simple perspectives how it actually works. And although there's multiple steps, we're going to talk about some really basic ones. But it's really kind of important when we start talking about like how we're going to get somebody healthy. 70% of our immune system actually exists in our gut. So you have the gut-associated lymphatic tissue. So the functioning of your gastrointestinal system is extremely important. So when we talk about the basic program in our Feel Great in 8 program, we talk about actually healing the intestinal lining that begins to break down due to these food exposures and toxins and all these other things, and then how to detoxify it. So it's really the first step that you really need to do if you plan on losing weight and get your metabolism back in order. So as we start to go through these particular processes here, it's really important to understand that gut health is what we need to address. So I'm gonna make an attempt here to try to talk a little bit about your immune system and actually how it works. There's really 2 parts to the immune system. There is what we call the inborn or the innate portion of it, and what that is it will be an initial response to something that's foreign within your body, and its purpose is to go and attack, whether it's an infection or microbes or whatever. So if something gets into our blood system, whether it gets in through how we ingest food through our mouth, whether it's something through our nose, whether it gets into it by foods that we eat and leaks through the gut, whatever that is, if there's a food particle there, your very first portion of that system, the innate or the inborn system, goes and it tries to attack the cells. Okay? The second part of that, and it's very short lasting, the second part of that is what we call the acquired immune system. That's a little bit more complex, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. Okay?
So two different responses for a foreign substance. And I will also think about like even organ transplants. I guess that's the extreme case when you have an organ transplant and your body tries to reject it and the immune system attacks.
Yeah, that's the extreme case. But yes, because it's viewing the entire organ as a foreign substance. And also that organ may also be possessing certain types of things, just not necessarily the organ, but the cells within that, that the body's looking at, saying, we don't recognize this. This is not part of our own tissue. And that's what the second part that we're going to talk about, the Th1 and Th2 system, it's recognizing familiar tissues to themselves. Because if it doesn't recognize the tissue, even if it's part of your body, it becomes an autoimmune response, and your body begins to attack your own tissues. So that's not good. That's what we see in most of our thyroid cases. They're walking through our door nowadays. There's an autoimmune thyroid condition that you need to address the immune system before you try to address just the thyroid problem.
Interesting. We're again with Dr. Bob Olivieri, as we are every Tuesday. Dr. Bob Olivieri from Olivieri Chiropractic. And welcome once again, Dr. Bob. The doctor is in, as they say. And today we're talking about the immune system and how it affects your body, and how it could be a hidden secret why you're not able to lose weight.
All right, so the two parts of the immune system we were talking about, the very first is the innate inborn response, and it's an initial response to a foreign body that's in your body, whether it's being an infection, a virus, something like that. And it goes in there and basically releases some cells to actually try to go gobble them up and eat them up. And sometimes that's all it needs, and you're done. But the second part of the immune system, if they're having some problems with that, is what we call the adaptive or the acquired immune system. And although there's multiple steps in this, we're going to talk about two basic steps. It's called Th1 and Th2. T helper cell 1, T helper cell 2. And Th1 is basically a cellular reaction. So what happens is if you, again, get like a bacteria in your body, a virus or something like that, it releases these cells and it's going to go try to eat them up. Kill them right at the site.
So these are actually cells that your body releases, creates, has there stored somewhere, and they come out?
Yeah, so when you do a blood work, there'll be some different types of white blood cells, which we're going to talk about in a minute. But these are one of the responses of the white blood cells. So they're in response to certain types of infections and bacteria. So remember we had said that lots of times our immune system's overworking much more than it really should be doing because of the fact that we're exposed to so many different things. Just like even when we exposed to so many processed foods, like, if you open up a bag of potato chips, and now there's like food substances, I don't even know what they are. They're like potato sticks that aren't really potatoes, It's like, it's kind of crazy. So if you really look at the ingredients and all that, and you just eat them, so you go, oh, these taste pretty good, and it's quick snack food. But all of those, they have multiple colors to them, all of those have different things that
a lot of chemicals.
Yeah, they don't go in and out. It's really simple. You don't eat them, and then what you don't use, it goes out. They stay in your body. And one bag's not going to hurt you, but if you're having one bag a week for 20 years, it is. There has some effects on you. So the second part of that immune system is what they call the Th2, which is what they call the antibodies. And we've all heard about antibody responses. And what happens is, if there's an infection there, it's more along the lines of, instead of like bacteria and parasites and fungus, which is really the Th1, this is more for like non-infectious types of particles, which are like food and chemicals that you have, like pollen or something like that gets into your body. That's the Th2 system. And what that will do is it will make antibodies that indirectly inhibit the foreign invader. So there's a process that goes through that. And you'll notice, like when you catch a cold, they usually say it takes 5 to 7 days to be able to kill it off, because this Th2 system is a slower process in which it's going to actually fight off these antibodies, as opposed to a direct response. So if your Th1 system is really overactive, where it's going after infections and parasites and stuff, you're going to get pain, swelling, inflammation, fatigue. You're going to get some mental types of and mood types of swings, that type of thing. If your Th1 is reactive, you're going to get like food allergies, and you're going to get like reactions to like pollen and dandruff and all that type of stuff. So they're actually reacting to two different types of things. here's the key. You have to have a balance of the Th1 and Th2 system. If you don't have a balance there, you're going to be really in trouble. So there's different ways to actually evaluating this. So you can go into blood work, and if you go into blood, if you go in and normally a part of a normal blood chemistry you probably get yearly, one of the things you're looking at is white blood cells. So white blood cells are made up of neutrophils, lymphocytes, monocytes, eosinophils, and basal cells. That what we're just talking about in this particular section in here primarily is the lymphocytes. And lymphocytes break down into these T cells, also I don't want to bore you to death, but natural killer cells and B cells.
Is this something that is tested for in the blood work?
The basics are, but you have to get a little bit deeper if you want to get a deeper panel for an inflammatory reaction. So if I have somebody that has some pretty chronic disease, like something, and we're not sure, we're really lucky in our office. We can do some simple tests on a nutritional basis to find out what part of those systems are functioning better, the Th1 and the Th2. We can do some blood work that's a little bit more extensive and really doesn't give us the same answers as doing a test that we do within our office, because we're trying to guide them towards boosting the side. If you think of this as a seesaw, they need to be balanced. Right. So if the Th1 system's too high, the Th2 system's going to be too low. And so there's things that we can actually provide nutritionally to actually balance that out, balance the distribution of those two, and honestly make your immune system function so much better.
We're speaking with Dr. Bob Olivieri, as we do every Tuesday. He can be reached at his office in Rio Grande on Route 47. The number is 609-886-8585. Olivieri. We are every Tuesday, and we're in the midst of a series of 9 hidden secrets why you might not be able to lose weight. And today we're talking about the immune system, something we've dabbled in before, but now we're getting into it a little more in detail. Right, Dr. Bob?
Yes. So we were talking about the 2 different parts, the Th1, Th2 system. And basically what you'll do is, and you want to make sure that both of those are balanced, whether it's an antibodies or a direct response to something that's foreign in your body. When it's a direct response, cells will be brought to the bacteria or whatever, and we'll try to gobble it all up. If it's the Th2 system, what it will do is it's more for something that's more not like a pathogen, it's more like a food allergy, and it'll try to gobble it all up. And then it produces antibodies, so your body will remember the next time it's in your body to have an immune response. And that's bad sometimes, because if you have, let's just say, a food allergy, each and every time that enters into your body, an entire immune response comes in to try to attack it. Where, like, a peanut is not going to harm you, but for somebody that has a food allergy to it, it could kill them. So your immune response is extremely important in trying to balance that. So there's certain things that we'll do within our office, besides just getting normal blood work with that, is there's certain components that will stimulate the Th1 system. There's certain components that will stimulate the Th2. And like healthy components, like green tea, a good example, vitamin E, selenium, zinc, echinacea, which people take for colds. That's all Th1 stimulators. So if you're taking echinacea and you get a bad response to that, and you're like, wait a minute, everybody takes this, it's supposed to be good for you, you have an imbalance in your immune system. If the Th2 stimulators can be something like vitamin A, vitamin D, milk thistle, curcumin, right? Everybody's taking curcumin.
I haven't heard about that one.
Turmeric, any of those types.
Okay.
So when people are taking all those things, that everybody's saying, oh, it's great for inflammation. It is if you have a balanced immune system, but it's really bad for you, if you're Th2 dominant, really bad. It's going to stimulate it, and you don't want that to happen. So a lot of the probiotics that people are taking can have an immune reaction to that. So you have to balance that out. You have to do some of the testing. So we do some pre-testing. We do a challenge to that if they're showing some of the symptoms based upon their blood work. So it's a different step, because people take a lot of things that they think are extremely healthy for them, but are not necessarily healthy for them. It might be for the general population, but not for them. So I hear so many people saying, I go on the internet, I get this vitamin, I get this because this is good for you, right? Everybody's individual. So you have to do the testing. Right. Our Feel Great Innate program, our advanced, we do tremendous amount of testing. You're doing 4 major tests extremely detailed blood work, organic acid testing that we've talked about in here. We do stools types of samples in here, and we do saliva samples for hormones. So it's very, very detailed. So we're going to have a good idea of what's going on and which systems are working and which ones aren't. So we're going to talk just for a minute. What do you do to correct these imbalances? So number one thing is you want to reduce the inflammation in your GI tract, since 70% of your immune system is in the GI tract. You don't want to do that with diet, probiotics. We have supplements in our program to actually heal a leaky gut. So that's a great start in doing it. Next thing, you want to consume certain types of vitamins. You want fairly decent dosage of vitamin D, vitamin A, probiotics. I'm not talking about massive amounts, but just because you're within the normal levels of vitamin D, which is about 40, I think right now, you want to be up around 75. I use, you want to be up high.
Is it best to take individual vitamins or a multivitamin combination? Always
individual, specifically targeted to what your supplements are needed. It's okay to take a general once you're there, but right. Most people are not there. I mean, okay. I've never seen a person go through our program where they're taking what they're supposed to be taking. Vitamin D levels are horrendously low in our society. Just because it considers to be within normal limits on a lab test, that just means it's average, but it doesn't mean it's healthy. So you want fairly decent. You want to improve your mental, emotional, physical symptoms. You want to decrease stress. Exercise is one of the very best things you can possibly do with that. And then you want to support that Th1, Th2 pathways, and we use those specific formulas in our office to actually do that. So that's it. If you want to learn more about this, and a whole lot of other things, we have a Feel Great Nate workshop tomorrow night, Thursday night, and we go into a tremendous amount of information about all these things. This particular series, the 9 Hidden Secrets to Losing Weight, or Weight Loss Secrets, is really designed to be able to explain to people the complexity of our Feel Great Nate program that we have. And so hopefully they'll kind of get the idea that losing weight is just a symptom of very poor physiology. And if you're going to improve your physiology, you're going to make yourself a little bit healthier. You gotta, I think most people need help. And we have a system there. We hold your hand all the way through. It's a 6 to 8 month program, and you can learn a tremendous amount about it. It's free of charge. You don't have to come.
The seminar is free of charge. The program, there's a fee for the program.
There is a fee for the program, and it depends upon which program that you choose. Right. And we talk about that at the seminar. So you're walking out of there with a whole lot of answers. You're going to fill out some questionnaires before you come in to actually assess what state of health you're actually in. It's a phenomenally well-designed program, and we have books now written. We have protocols that are really actually being used throughout the entire United States now.
And you have a website as well.
We do. If you go to feelgreatin8institute.com, you'll learn an awful lot about this. If you would like to actually hear this series, all of this, you can go to 9hiddensecrets.com and apply for that, or call our office. And we will give you all that information. Just say, hey, I've been listening to the radio show, and I'd like to learn a little bit more. Can I get exposed to some of the past shows? If you want to come to and learn about this protocol, come tomorrow night. Thursday night. I keep saying, yeah. Come Thursday night, and you'll learn. And like I said, the workshop's free of charge. So you just sit there, learn a little bit. Hopefully you can take that home. Spread it to your family and friends. Because if it's not just about you, I promise you, this program will influence your entire family if you stick to it.
I hear you. And again, the office number is 609-886-8585.